You know, after rewatching this movie, I'm kind of starting to question if anything's real anymore. I kind of hope everything isn't real anymore because today's day and age is sad. Hey guys, how is everybody doing? And welcome back to my Spider-Man review series. And now we are on the second Tom Holland Spider-Man movie with Spider-Man Far From Home. And this is a movie I kind of also have a little bit of nostalgia with. I kind of talked about that in Spider-Man Homecoming because this was at the time where an Avengers Endgame first came out too. So there was a lot of excitement with this movie, but yeah, after rewatching it, that excitement's gone down a little bit. But with that all out of the way, here are my thoughts on Spider Man Far From Home. Starting off with my positives on Spider Man Far From Home, and my first positive is something that I really like about this movie and kind of has this, kind of sweet full circle moment is in Spider Man Homecoming, Happy doesn't, it's very apparent that Happy does not like Peter at all. He kind of finds him annoying, he's childish, and, doesn't like working with kids. He likes working with grown adults that actually know what the fuck they're doing and mature or whatever. That's very clear and apparent in Spider Man Homecoming. And in this one, I really liked how they have Happy and Peter have this dynamic and actual relationship. I don't want to say like a father son relationship because it doesn't feel like that at all. It more feels like a guardian angel godfather type of relationship to where, I talked about it in my Spider-Man Homecoming review, and it's shown throughout the entirety of the MCU whenever Iron Man and Spider-Man are in a movie together, is that they kind of have Tony be a father figure for Peter. They kind of play at that a lot throughout this entire universe. And this is at the point in time where Tony is now dead, and so Happy is trying to look out for him and Aunt May because Tony did so much for the two of them. So he kind of is he's kind of like the godfather of Peter, and I really like their dynamic and their relationship, and I'm really glad that they improved it from Homecoming because like I talked about in Homecoming you can clearly see that Happy does not like Peter. He doesn't get along with him all that much, but in this one they get along much better. They actually have a full on relationship, and now it's not for a whole bunch of the movie. It maybe is for, I don't know, maybe a total of 10 minutes of screen time. But whenever those two do share the screen together and do share a scene together, it is a pretty good moment, and it kind of gives you this like joyous feeling, and especially that plane scene where they're just sitting talking about Tony and how Spider and that's when Peter realizes how messed up, how badly he messed up, and he's like, "Oh, Tony would be so disappointed in me. Like everyone keeps asking me that if I'm gonna be the new Iron Man, and I don't even know if I can live up to him." And then Happy tells him, "No one can ever live up to Tony. Tony couldn't even live up to himself. He was my best friend, and he second guessed himself all the time." That one scene alone just really shows their dynamic in the relationship that I'm really glad that has improved over the years. In pure its title, this movie is said to be Far From Home, and well, Spider-Man is far from home. He is no longer in New York City in this movie, and he is on a class trip that I believe goes to Europe and London. I could be wrong, I don't know fucking countries or whatever the fuck. I don't know counties. But I do like the setting of getting out of New York and actually going to somewhere else like Europe or in London or whatever. I really like that change, and I really like the setting. Not only is it visually pretty to look at, and just, a cool visual aspect of the movie, but to see this movie try something different to where we've seen it all in the Spider-Man movies. After all of these Spider-Man reviews that I've done, they all take place in, excuse me, in New York City and Queens, and you know all of these places that we've seen Spider-Man visit before and fight crime in before. Literally any Spider-Man comic, movie, video game, TV show, it's all in New York, which is pure its character, which a lot of comic book characters are from. They're from New York because big city, a lot of crime, I guess. But to see it come to move out of New York for a movie, and have him fight crime in Europe and, in a different country just in general, I really enjoyed that. And it also just felt like a breath of fresh air to get like a new setting and a new atmosphere. If anything, it just felt good. Just seeing the same setting over and over can get a little, boring and tedious, and you already know what to expect. But in this one, you don't know what to expect. It's a whole different country. And this is probably my favorite part of the entire movie. A lot like the Amazing Spider-Man movies with the chemistry between Andrew and Emma Stone. I think the chemistry between Zendaya and Tom Holland in this movie is very much improved. Now in Spider-Man Homecoming, MJ was kind of just this their type character, the one that's kind of emo, hates the world, or whatever kind of character. She's just kind of there, and you don't even know she's MJ until the very end of the movie, which is a pretty lame reveal, if you ask me. But they have highly improved that in this movie, and that's something that I really like. Not only are you actually invested and interested in this movie, and it also just gives Spider Man something to do that isn't fighting crime, that he's actually, you know, wanting to do Peter Parker stuff and wanting to get this girl that he has a huge crush on or whatever, but the chemistry between Zendaya and Tom Holland is just awesome. Probably helps that these two are actually a real life couple as well, a lot like Andrew and Emma Stone in the TASM movies. So a nice little, you know, another Spider-Man getting with the actual love interest in the real life type situation. And I don't even fucking know their whole relationship in real life. I keep seeing things on the internet saying they broke up. I keep seeing pictures that they got married not that long ago. So maybe Zendaya and Tom Holland are married. I don't fucking know. Uh Confusing ass relationship because of the fucking internet. But either ways, these two are a real life couple, as we know, I guess. And that's very apparent just from their chemistry alone on screen. Not only do you actually buy into it and are actually invested in it and gives Peter to do something that isn't just being Spider-Man, but their chemistry really helps it, and whenever they share screen together, you really feel it, especially the scene where Peter is about to fully admit his feelings to her, but then she comes as like, you're Spider-Man or whatever. Like that whole scene is one of my favorites, and then when MJ actually kisses Peter or whatever. Like their whole relationship throughout these two movies, I like in Far From Home and No Way Home. I feel like their chemistry and their on-screen dynamic has always been a highlight in the entirety of these Spider-Man movies, and this is where it all started, and it has improved a lot throughout the years, if you ask me. And I'm interested to see what they do with it in Brand New Day. They're hinting at that maybe MJ will fall back in love with Peter, which I hope they get away from MJ. I want Peter to find a new love interest. I don't want the focus just be MJ. But however, if they do go back to that being the focus, people will probably buy into it, and I might even buy into it because their chemistry is just too damn good. And my final positive is the main villain himself, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, Mysterio. Jake Gyllenhaal is one of the best parts of this movie, and I'm really glad that they didn't waste him. I actually have seen a lot of people say that Jake Gyllenhaal was a wasted cast in the entirety of the MCU, and I would disagree because I don't really know what you could do with Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio. I don't expect him to come back or whatever, like Michael Keaton's Vulture. Now, I don't think Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio is anywhere near as close to as good as Michael Keaton's Vulture because I feel like Vulture is one of the best MCU villains and one of the best Spider-Man villains. I don't think Jake Gyllenhaal is on that kind of level, but I do still think that he is a damn good villain and I really enjoy him. And I like this new taste and flavor that they added to this Mysterio character because Mysterio in the comics I'm pretty sure is just a common thief. He just steals people's identity so he can get away with it and so he gets framed on this person in actuality. So I'm really glad that they changed it as to him posing as a superhero, as a vigilante, saving the world from saving Earth because his world got destroyed or whatever and by these like weird cloud monster thingies or whatever. And I really like how they added to where that was just all a trick, just so Peter would give him these glasses that gave him all access to Tony Stark tech so he can fool the world or something. I don't know, but I really like Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. He does a pretty good job of playing this fake hero type character when he is an actual, you know, a vigilante. He actually does a really good job, and then when he turns evil, you buy into it, and when he turns full villainous, like he actually feels like a real threat and an actual villain, and I really like that. And not only is just his Mysterio just a good villain, and he also just plays a really scary bad guy at some moments, the visual side of all of the Mysterio moments are also just really good, especially that sequence when, you know, Peter is getting tricked for the first time by Mysterio, like for the very first time by these high tech drones or whatever. That whole sequence, and then when he gets hit by the bullet train or whatever, that is one of the best visual scenes that we get in this entire movie, and hell, out of the entirety of Spider Man films in general. So not only is Jake Gyllenhaal just really good as Mysterio, but I'm really glad the way that they used Mysterio and made him different. And whenever I think Mysterio, I always think of the 1990s Spider-Man series because I really like what they do with him in there. but I also just really like this version of him. I think Jake Gyllenhaal does a great performance, does a great job. I think he gives a good performance, and I'm really glad that they did not waste him. Even though some people think he did get wasted, I'm in that camp that thinks that he does not get wasted. But now moving on to my mixed aspects. And the one mixed aspect that I do have about this movie is this is the point in time where Endgame had just come out. Like Endgame, biggest movie of all time. It literally made $1 billion its opening weekend, which no other movie has done that, I don't think. Yeah, no other movie's done that. And it was the highest grossing movie for the longest time until Disney's like, oh, we need Avatar to be the highest grossing movie of all time. Let's re-release it 4 different times. But either way, this is after the high of Endgame. This movie came out right after Endgame, so that means that this movie is picking up like right after Captain America, basically. Isn't Captain America anymore, and he gave it to Sam Wilson. Black Widow just died. Iron Man had sacrificed himself. All of this stuff that just happened in Endgame, we are picking up right after that, and everybody's coming back. But the one thing that I want to talk about is that it mainly shows the aftermath of Tony's death, which makes a lot of sense because Tony started the MCU. Iron Man is the probably the biggest superhero of all time in this entirety of this universe. But this movie's main focus seems to be Tony's death. It seems to show the aftermath of Tony's death. Now, one, I do like it because I really think on the emotional side of seeing Tom Holland's performance and seeing Peter's, reaction to the death and how he's handling it and how distraught he is about how he basically lost a father figure and his mentor. He lost someone that he really cared about, and that weighs on him heavily. And I talked about it earlier in that happy scene where he's talking to him like, I don't know if I can live up to Iron Man. Everyone keeps asking me if I'm going to be the new Iron Man or whatever. And that scene is a perfect example of what there is to like about this whole thing going on, about Peter kind of getting over Tony's death. And the performance in general by Tom Holland, like I just said, is good in general. However, where I don't like it is that it focuses too much on it to where it doesn't feel like a Spider-Man movie. It simply just feels like a epilogue to Endgame. It just feels like, oh, this is the first movie after Endgame. We have to answer questions in this movie. So it doesn't make it a Spider-Man movie necessarily. And that really bothers me because this also just continues to show that Spider-Man can't get out of the shadow of Iron Man. I talked about it in my review of Homecoming how Tony is there too much to where he's interfering in Spider Man's life to where that kind of just gets in the way in general. But this one, it weighs in that heavily. Spider Man can't escape the shadow to where it doesn't even feel like Spider Man's wanting to be Spider Man. It feels like they're trying to have him become the new Iron Man. That's not what the character is. Spider Man is Spider Man. We all love him for who he is. I don't want to see Spider Man become the new Iron Man of this universe. Fucking have his daughter become Iron Man. I don't know anyone but Spider Man. But now moving on to my negatives. And my first negative is more of a nitpick. The whole Ned relationship thing going on with this, with the girl news reporter or whatever, the blonde chick. I think that was fucking stupid. I don't like that at all. Like it's pretty dumb because they fucking high school, man. They are on a plane together because Ned tries to lie to to one of them so he can sit next to MJ on the plane ride there, saying like, "Oh, there's a perfume that Peter's allergic to. We switch seats. That basically gets all fucked." So Ned ends up sitting next to this girl, and then apparently him touching her hand on accident on the plane, and they somehow just start bonding over video games or what the fuck ever they started bonding over, and they're like, "Oh, let's get together." Like, bitch, you just fucking met, and like you don't know each other at all, and then they're like flirting throughout the whole movie, calling each other babe, and like jinxing each other or something, like some dumb bullshit. It's all stupid and dumb, and it doesn't make any sense.
Oh, look at us. We're in love and happy and not dead inside. Get fucked, both of you.
And then at the very end of the movie, after Peter and MJ get together, and Peter's all excited, like, "Ooh, we should go on a double date," and they're like, "Oh no, we broke up." And they're like, "Oh, we gotta learn to grow apart from each other once we fall in love." And I'm like, what the fuck was the point of it if you're just gonna break up at the end of the movie? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Why include it? I don't know. It's played for jokes pretty much, and it's fucking dumb. I didn't like it at all. I think that was a poor writing decision, and I feel like it was just added just to give him to give Ned something to do. Motherfucker, have him being Spider-Man's sidekick again or something. Like that's what he is in these movies. He's fucking Genki. That's who he's really. That's what Ned really is. He's Genki. Who's Miles' best friend? He's that science nerd character. Anyone that's read a Spider-Man comic can tell you that. Have him be that. Don't give him a dumbass relationship that goes fucking nowhere. And in my Spider-Man Homecoming review, I talked about how Tony was in the movie too much and he was just like, interfering with Spider-Man's business or whatever, like I just talked about in my mixed aspects. Nick Fury is in this movie, and his role is fucking identical to Tony's in Homecoming. And basically, any issues you heard me talk about from Homecoming with Tony's character, copy and paste it, but just add Nick Fury instead because his role is literally identical. I don't need Nick Fury to assemble a fucking small group of weird ass Avengers just to fight cloud monsters when we get Spider Man and Mysterio. I don't need that in a Spider Man movie. Like, let Spider Man be Spider Man. You could have taken Nick Fury completely out of this movie and just had Mysterio and Spider Man team up together. Like, I'm sure Mysterio could have tricked Spider Man into teaming up with him to fight these monsters or whatever. I'm sure that could have been the thing. But no, you gotta add Nick Fury in here. Why? Oh, because it's Sam Jackson. He brings money. And for my final negative, I already talked about that how much I like Mysterio. I do think he's a good villain. My one negative with the character is his motive. I think Jake Gyllenhaal's motive of being a villain and wanting to kill Spider-Man or whatever at the very end of the movie, I think is fucking retarded because this is something that we've seen already over and over and over and over again in the MCU. Guy that worked for Tony, Tony didn't like his ideas, kicked him off to the street. That guy that he kicked off to the street hates Tony and wants revenge on him and wants to make him look like a bad guy. Assembles a bunch of people that he wronged as well, and they basically hate Tony and they want to make him look bad.
Punch you in the face. What's your response to Justin Gaethje? Yeah, join the queue. Join the queue. There's a few.
Yeah, I wonder how many fucking times we've seen that in this fucking universe. Iron Man 2, The Avengers, fucking you can name any movie that Iron Man is in. All of his villains is because they hate Tony. And we've seen it outside of Iron Man movies. For this as an example, we have seen this motive a time a dozen. And it's fucking stupid. I hate the fact that that's what his motive was. And a lot of people are like, oh, this is the better version of that. It's like, no, what the fuck, it's not. There's no better version of this when this is literally just a beat, repeat, a beat for beat fucking motive that we have seen so many fucking times in this universe. Overall, guys, I don't mind Spider-Man Far From Home. I do think that it is a bit of a dip in quality from Spider-Man Homecoming. I do prefer Spider-Man Homecoming over this one. I just feel like a lot of decisions made in this movie to where I lose a lot of enjoyment out of it. Now, I think it's a very well-made movie, yes, and I think Jake Gyllenhaal is a huge reason why I really enjoy it. But as a Spider-Man film, I just don't like it. So, what do you guys think about Spider Man Far From Home? Have you seen it? What do you think about it? Do you like this movie? Do you not like this movie? Let me know in the comments below and we shall talk about it. And if you like this video, like it. If you love it, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you will get notified for all of my latest videos. And of course, until my next video, I'll see you all next time.